Fox Carolina Investigates has been investigating drugs getting into upstate schools for months. Now, our focus at the beginning of this investigation was on whether or not students needed to have better access to Narcan when they're at school. Our investigation revealed, and after speaking with the experts, that yes, they do. And since then, laws have been passed to make sure that that life-saving drug is accessible to school employees, including school nurses. But during our investigation, we got a hold of a lot of different incident reports from various law enforcement agencies across the upstate. And while those told us about instances where Narcan had to be used, we also learned about instances where students were ingesting other drugs, many times having no idea what they were putting in their body. So we want to walk you through some of those reports today. We're going to start out with this one from Tanglewood Middle School. Now, this was a very recent case. It actually happened March 28th of this year. There was a call for a possible overdose. The SRO writes in this incident report that the student was lethargic, and the school nurse ended up revealing that the student had taken an edible. The student was taken to the hospital, and it was discovered that they had found a gummy in the cafeteria during lunch, ate it, and then an hour later, they started acting weird, and that's when the school nurse and officers got involved. Now, there was not much else done in this investigation because they said that they had different cameras installed in the cafeteria. Unfortunately, those cameras were not set up, so they don't know who brought that gummy into the cafeteria. So that's one where there's not a lot of closure, but a good glimpse into how these students are getting a hold of these different drugs and just picking them up. A gummy, it looks like candy. The student probably had no idea what they were putting into their body. Now, I want to walk you through another report. This one deals with vaping, something I'm sure a lot of parents are very familiar with, and it took place at Carolina High School, again, earlier this year in January. So let me show you this incident report here. Now this one, again, January 4th, 2023, SRO saw a student who seemed to have a medical emergency. They were not able to form proper sentences. They were stumbling, shaking uncontrollably, and they were even hallucinating. The report says that the student was having a hard time breathing. After investigating, the student revealed that they took a hit from someone's vape and they were unaware of what it contained. And as a result, they had a bad reaction. They needed medical attention. Thankfully, they were okay. But another example of a student taking something that they're not sure what it is. And I talked with the Phoenix Center about this. They deal with drug abuse and drug prevention. And they said that teens really need to be aware that unless you made that substance, that drug that you're wanting to take, you truly have no idea what's in it. She said that's something that people need to be very aware of, really regardless of their age, but a conversation that she says parents should be having with their students. Now, this next incident I want to walk you through is from Woodmont High School. If you watched our story about Narcan being needed in schools, then you're familiar with Woodmont High School. This was where a student had a non-fatal overdose in the gymnasium. Well, this has to do with a different incident at Woodmont. So I'll walk you through this one. It happened on March 1st, 2022. The SRO was told a student was unconscious in the bathroom. The student said she could not feel her lower body and she could not keep her eyes open. She ended up having to be taken to the hospital, and she revealed that she had smoked something from a vape, and she said that she did not know what it was. She had a very scary reaction to it. Her grandmother had to be called, and again, they were taken to the hospital. Very scary situation, and the student probably had no idea what was in that vape, and again, had that very scary reaction. The Phoenix Center says that happens a lot. And talking with people from Greenwood County, Cornerstone, a similar nonprofit, they said they're seeing this a lot in their schools. Students smoking something, thinking that it's a harmless cartridge that's in there, and then unfortunately finding out when they have that bad reaction that they really had no clue what was in there. Now, this final incident report I'm going to be walking you through is also from Woodmont High School, and it picks up where our story left off. Let me pull it up for you here. So this report picks up after the student was revived when they were having that overdose. Investigators with the narcotics unit came in and they found a bag of pills with that student. They were pressed pills, and that's typically the kind of pill where you're going to find fentanyl. Now, it turned out that another student had given the student who overdosed those pills. They tried to test them, but they could not determine whether or not they had fentanyl, and they decided to go ahead and attempt to sell them, and that's what they did. So they sold them to the student who had that non-fatal overdose, and about an hour after he took one of those pills, that's when the overdose happened. Now, that student who distributed the pills did face criminal charges. They were charged with distribution. They were also charged with distributing near a school. So very real consequences for that student. And we don't, of course, have a lot of details because they are a juvenile, but it did say that they were taken to the juvenile detention center in the case file. Now, the Phoenix Center has one more tip that they want people to know, and that's about testing these pills. They say if you are going to use, you need to know what you're taking, and the best way to do that is testing to see if those pills contain fentanyl. She said one mistake that people make is that they don't test the entire pill, and she said that's key because fentanyl is not always evenly spread throughout those pressed pills. She said to think of it like a chocolate chip cookie. You know, just because you take one bite into a chocolate chip cookie doesn't mean you're going to get a chocolate chip, but it's still a chocolate chip cookie. So she said it's very important to test the entire pill. We have all kinds of other resources for you linked on this page. So if you're interested in learning more or want to find out more about our investigation into Narcan in schools, feel free to read below.